Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Rob Bear, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Kenny Boucher and Wyatt Turk. What's up, guys?
Yo, dog, great to be here.
Yeah, what's up?
We didn't really talk about what we were going to say.
Oh, yeah, did fine.
We've got an exciting interview tonight with Thomas Bird, Commissioner Bird.
The commish.
The commissioner, dude.
That's what we're talking about tonight.
That's it? That's all we're going to talk about?
Yeah, it was like a 45-minute interview, man.
Was it 45 minutes? Gosh.
Yeah.
When were we supposed to talk about all these new 40K rules?
There's new rules?
Mm-hmm.
God, I don't know anything. There's actually new rules?
Yeah.
God.
There's a new FAQ.
What?
Nah.
Yup.
I don't believe you.
I don't believe you.
It's not on the FAQ page, dog.
Yeah, they're at what FAQ page?
Didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Well, how much do you want to bet that these are going to be in the balanced data slate in December?
Okay, so we should talk about that. You have it already figured out, like sorted?
Yeah, it's on. I
I know what Rob's talking about.
Oh, so you're doing a bit. I don't know anything.
Yeah, I'm just giving him a hard time.
Oh, there's actually some really good clarifications in here.
Okay, so
to be quite honest,
so that way we don't have a 2-hour long podcast, and I have to pay Libsyn money for some more storage space.
Oh,
Remember how that used to? Remember that shit?
man, that thing is a scam.
We still use Libsyn, but they don't. They used to charge you for space, including thumbnails you uploaded.
Oh yeah, I remember that now.
So I was like, oh, okay, guys. But now they don't. It's
No,
easy. That's an old 10-year ago problem.
man, we've been doing this too long.
Yeah,
Those are like first world podcast problems.
100%. So okay, well, we have news and FAQ stuff and an interview that's about 45 minutes. Let's keep that in mind. Accelerate the show.
Oh man,
Let's kick it over to Wyatt for Would You Rather then.
Ooh. Would you rather Meatloaf stop existing or all of Meatloaf's music stops existing?
I was going to
I
ask.
thought we were talking about food.
I was literally, it is both. I was going to ask you which
it's
meatloaf.
both.
Well, one of them's gluten free.
So you're gonna be like, sorry, Meatloaf, your music no longer exists because I can't. This is one of my staples.
No, I can't have meatloaf.
You said it's gluten free. Oh, it's not.
No, it's not gluten free.
Who puts gluten in their meatloaf? I guess if you put bread,
They make it with breadcrumbs.
You don't have to.
Good luck getting the meat to stick together.
Eggs. Throw some rice up in that bitch, bro. I guarantee rice and eggs, meatloaf.
Nobody makes it like that.
Not yet.
Be the first.
I don't have time for that.
That's GS, dude. Just GF right there. Just get a rice cooker. Throw some rice up in that bitch. Get it sticky as hell. Throw it up in there.
Get it sticky as hell.
Throw some crack an egg in that joint. Smash that bitch up.
It seems to be your next line of Instagram content. Just you cooking stuff
Cooking meatloaf with rice.
with this language.
And it makes sense too because the rice gets real hot. Like it burns just like every time I use a rice cooker, I burn myself. Okay. And you know how like when you're doing meatloaf, your hands are so fucking cold from eating that cold ass meat. I feel like the boiling rice offsets the frozen hand.
It's not how that works.
Yeah, that's not.
It's not how that works at all.
I saw people put their hands inside of molten steel because of the same concept.
Also not true.
I did see that on a Mythbusters and they did it. So I don't see how this doesn't correlate. Either way, I love meatloaf.
So you try it out. Let us know how it goes.
No,
Yeah.
I'm just going to assume that everything I see on the internet's true. I mean, this is an easy one for me, man. I'm not taking one of my favorite foods off the table, no matter how I feel about meatloaf and his music, which I feel
It used to be one of my favorite foods, but it's dead to me now.
So do we split the timelines and we both go into alternate realities? One in which meatloaf, the cuisine does not exist, and one in which,
or I mean, it could be the same timeline. You both of you just experience reality differently.
Like if I'm eating like meatloaf, he just sees an empty plate. Like he's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Here, I'm just miming eating,
Yeah.
real sexually.
And if you're in a car and you put some music on, like Kenny just doesn't hear anything. Rob's over there jamming out to
Now,
dashboard lights.
Like, I guess I'm gonna eat a lot more meatloaf than I used to, just because I'm gonna have made this "would you rather" like commitment. So I'm gonna make it a staple of my life for sure. To honor Meatloaf the artist from no longer existing in my mind, you know, like every time I eat meatloaf, I'll think of him.
Makes sense.
I feel like me and Kenny already experienced life in different like versions of life while in the same reality.
Yeah. I eat gluten, you don't.
Yep.
I'm short, you're tall.
There's some of that.
I'm old, you're young.
Debatable.
Okay. That's the appropriate amount of time dedicated to the "would you rather."
Yeah, that's it.
Let's move forward. Rob, you got news?
Got a little bit, yeah. Well, let's hit the easy stuff here. So Monument Hobbies teased a new bag, it looks like a new go bag.
Mm-hmm.
If I had to guess, it's half the size of the current go bag.
We saw
the
we saw their teaser photos on their Instagram stories last week.
Yeah. Jason put out some pictures of him dressed up modeling the bag too, and I have to admit I like the ones they went with on their socials better than the ones he sent me. I was like, yeah, I'm glad you didn't use those.
What did he do the whole dick in a box routine?
No, he definitely had a wig on though. Yeah, it was wild. I'll send it to you.
That sounds like private time pictures.
Dude, I don't know. He sent them to me. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, you looking good, bro.
Looking jacked.
Looking good. So I guess besides the new fluorescents that they're also been teasing, it looks like there's going to be a new go bag too. So I'm kind of excited to see what that's all about in the near future here. Frontline Gaming put out a pre-order and the event lineup for their Cherokee Open 2024 as well, which I think is still the end of February. I actually forgot to look at the date, but
it's my birthday weekend.
Isn't that the one you guys go to and you have to drive through some like Hills Have Eyes town?
Yeah, dude, we go meet the Mothman. It's tradition.
Yes. We didn't quite go past the Mothman, but yeah, basically.
But it's definitely like the wrong turn, the town and the wrong turn.
Yeah.
We know the way to
get
go
out
now.
of the car, Kenny. We're not stupid.
Yeah, don't go through Maggie Valley, y'all. That place is wild.
So this is the place. The famous Maggie Valley is on the way to.
Do not go through Maggie Valley. If the road says you're going through Maggie Valley, just go south. Just go south.
Work it out.
Fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll figure it out. Just alternate route. That shit. You don't want any of that. So that was the big product news and stuff. Of course, there is a FAQ that clarified a lot of stuff for the championships of Warhammer, which are coming up here in 2 weeks, I believe. I did want to mention that did some quick math. I think I made a prediction last week. I was like, hey, whatever they tease this Sunday on Warhammer Community will be a big tell as to, kind of where GW's at as far as like, sales and financials and things like that. And I was like, if they put out the battle forces, maybe they're hurting, they need to get some sales and things. It turns out they put out nothing. They put out, they teased some Forge World models that will be up on the website this weekend. But then I started thinking about it. I started looking at the math and they're like, these are going to be available on the 17th. And I'm like, 17th of November? What the shit? And then I looked at the Cities of Sigmar stuff. Cities of Sigmar comes out, I think, on the 11th. Oh, excuse me, 18th. So Cities of Sigmar comes out on the 11th, which is next Saturday. These Necromunda models come out on the 18th, which means that literally this Sunday, whatever they tease, whatever they preview, is what comes out Black Friday weekend. Which also means, since we're going down this road, that in a mere 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 days, we will know what is going up for December already on the 12th of November, which traditionally on pre-order weekend, on Black Friday weekend, which I guess now will be November 12th, because it's technically a 3-week pre-order. By the time they show it and it hits store shelf, 3 weeks have gone by, y'all. 3 weeks.
That's long.
Stores have to pony up the money for this for 3 weeks.
Oh, I see your point now. Oh, I just get annoyed as a consumer, like when they start going earlier and earlier on this shit. For sure, because like I'm not ready to buy this shit yet, and now I see now, like as a store, I'm not ready to buy this shit yet either.
Dog, could you imagine like you're trying to get 100 copies of Leviathan, or say 50 copies? That's 10 grand. GW charges your card for 10 grand for 3 weeks.
Oh, I thought they didn't charge until it ships.
They authorize your card, dog. Unless you're on terms with Games Workshop, they authorize your card. That money is gone.
Damn.
And they might not even fill that order completely.
See, that is not tight.
It's a little wild.
No, it's so because if you think about other stuff, I mean, like Marvel Crisis Protocol and Shatterpoint, their pre-orders are like months in advance. They'll put it up and be like, "You'll get this shit in like October, dog." Like,
but they don't even take they literally
like they don't charge you until the order ships.
Yeah.
And they get it to you generally, from what I've heard, about a week. Just in case, there's some crazy shipping, because they have 3-4 different warehouses in the US. So sometimes, they might have sold all out of their Atlanta warehouse. So then their stuff might be coming from California, etc. So they will hook stores up so they get it in time, they get it checked in, they can get it on the store shelves. They're not like GW playing the shell game. They're like, oh, well, it says here that you are at this zip code, and this zip code is exactly 2 days shipping from our warehouse. So guess what? You get it on a Friday. Well, let me tell you what, if I'm a store owner, I got a lot of shit going on a Friday. I got Magic. I got everybody coming in to spend their paycheck money, and I don't want to be checking in a bunch of orders. So that doesn't work for store owners, GW. So stop that too. Stop. Anyways, I digress. The point I was trying to make was that they didn't really put anything out on pre-order, and that in just a very few amount of days, if Battle Forces are going to come out at the same time they did, generally they go on pre-order Black Friday weekend. But in this case, it may actually be November 12th when they preview them and ask stores for their lot numbers.
Damn.
For something in December.
Yeah, that's annoying.
And
damaging. And based on what you just said, and also harmful. Like, that's harmful.
It's creating in a lot of ways, it helps stores because they get to know exactly what they've got coming in, because supposedly these
if you have the capital, it's helpful.
But here's the problem. And here's where we're getting into a bigger, like, long-term macroeconomic situation in my raw bear, mind and opinion, right? Stores that are not positioned well financially. I'm going to be honest with you. If you're listening to this and you're like, this is my thing, this is my clubhouse, I'm always scraping by, get through the holidays and close your store. If you can get out and you can be done with it and not hurt yourself.
Yeah, don't go into debt.
Don't break your lease or nothing. But like, if you can get out scot-free after the holidays, just shut it down. Just shut it down, because it is getting tough out there. Because you see, with this new Games Workshop website, they seem to be putting a emphasis on everything from them, where in multiple locations on the site, they're like all about, hey, order from us. We'll ship it to our stores, our Warhammer stores, for you to pick it up from our Warhammer store. And here's the big thing, right? And everybody's doing this. Magic's doing it. Asmodee is still kind of 50-50, feeling it all out. But Asmodee and all these games like Shatterpoint and Marvel Crisis Protocol, they have that shit up on Amazon.
Yeah.
They're blowing it out.
I feel like a lot of this stuff could be alleviated if Games Workshop would just announce stuff like months in advance and just let people like pre-order stuff months in advance.
Yeah, but their marketing strategy is about FOMO.
Yeah, I know,
So-
but fuck them.
No, agreed.
Do better.
Yes, you are right. It's lame. It's shady, but yeah, no, you're right. That would be tight, but they want to essentially using FOMO as your marketing strategy is kind of a grift. You know what I mean? It plays on a psychological desire that all humans have to not miss out on an opportunity and put themselves in a situation they would not otherwise be in. So it's a bit of a grift to load it the way they're loading it, and it quite literally is harmful to certain stores. Well, thank you, Rob, for the insight on it, identifying what stores it's actually helpful to. Like it is also tight for certain people, but I think that's good advice too, man. If you're in the clubhouse game scene right now and you can get out without fucking being in debt, the writing's on the wall, man. I've been, especially after this October. This October was it was the worst retail month in 2023.
I would say easily. And the problem is that we're kind of resetting. We're resetting back
globally, not G-dubs, like the whole country, son. All of it.
If you look at a lot of trends and a lot of things you can look at, a lot of reports and things, we're basically resetting back to an economy.
Yeah. You mentioned
in
this.
March.
We're picking back up where we left in COVID, except now with inflation.
And now everything costs more. And now there's less money coming. There's a lot more money out of the economy because of, at least in states, because of folks paying back their student loans. So, and you've got all these companies trying to go direct to market. So what I'm trying to say is the game stores in general, as they exist now, are probably not going to exist within the next decade unless they find a way to pivot to perhaps a subscription model or a cafe model or some sort of just lifestyle business in general, which is also what Games Workshop is trying to do. And we saw it with their new rollout of their new Warhammer.com, which I understand.
Let's talk about Warhammer.com, because we already talked about this last week. Let's talk about, tell me, the whole internet seems angry at Warhammer.com.
Very angry. But look, I want to start out and say, I agree with the move. And here's why I agree with the rebranding. Because this started roughly 10 years ago. We don't go to Games Workshop stores anymore, guys. We go to Warhammer stores. And by that, just that sheer fact, it makes sense.
Yeah. They changed their ident and everything, yeah.
That their online presence and their online hub is Warhammer.com, because you go to Warhammer, you get Warhammer, whether it's online or it's in a store. Like that just makes fucking sense, y'all. Like, I get that, like 100%. They obviously try to read.
I mean, as an IP house too, this makes sense. Yes. This is because
now they can leverage this for licensing and things, right?
Yeah.
And also, if you go to the site, like you can, first of all, the site was not rolled out. Like as somebody in the web publishing arena, right? You do not make these infrastructure changes in Q4. Q4 is you batten down the hatches and you ride it out to January. You do not roll out crazy developments. You do not roll out new web stores. You sure as hell don't do it in November. Like, this is rookie play right here. This should have been done in September and completed by the end of September at the latest. Like, ask any web developer out there. They will all tell you the same thing.
Except a web developer at GW said that we're going to do it fucking...
Right?
We're going to do it October 31st.
Bro, very bold decision. Very ambitious. Very, very ambitious. And the fact that they had to put out an FAQ... They literally put out an FAQ for their own website.
That's so GWN. So GWN.
I'm just like, and the vouchers haven't moved over yet. So, like, if you have a voucher, you don't have a voucher right now.
Oh,
right?
Damn. That's sketch.
On a personal note,
how do you feel about the website, design-wise?
I think it's terrible.
How do you feel about it navigation-wise?
I wasn't able to get around very well this morning, but I mean, the search works good. But that's all I did.
Did you do this on mobile or desktop?
I did it on desktop.
You, Wyatt?
I think the mobile version is fine, but the thing I noticed, we were playing with it before the podcast. Like, so the thing I noticed was like, if you are a person who is familiar with the design language of like mobile URL stuff, like how to navigate them, it's somewhat easy to get through. But if you're a person who's like never done any, like you don't use your phone for anything like that, you're not familiar with like what certain like icons mean or like what that design language is, it could be very like esoteric to try to figure out. It could be hard to like, there was a thing I was looking at where I was like, okay, how do I find Imperial Garden on this website to buy stuff? And unless you knew like 5 different things, it would be impossible for you to find that stuff using the mobile app.
Yeah. I see, as an ADHD crazy person who had a flair for over the top web design as a youth, I love that shit. I love the second I load in and there's a huge graphic playing on loop on the top. I like the placement of everything. Like I hit the drop down, saw Warhammer, clicked it, I was in Blood Angels in 2 seconds, fucking putting things in my cart. Like so whoever the market design is for, it's definitely for ADHD like college kids. Like, because it is a lot of moving parts, and for me to find it easy to navigate means it's insane. I acknowledge that.
Yeah, I get what you're saying, but I mean, I think that's a lot of what's out there right now. I
haven't seen a web design like this in a while though. Like it's a little on the flashy side.
Like it's definitely got a style to it.
Yeah. It's old school, and I think Rob, your point is correct. It's the ident, it's the brand, it's the IP.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense, right? Like you're going to Warhammer.com, you're going to Warhammer store. Now, what I don't like is the fact that they confirmed that Forge World basically doesn't exist anymore, and that
Forge World's out of business. Tight. I'm happy about that, actually.
I don't like how. So this in their FAQ page for their new Warhammer.com launch FAQs, they said the following: will the term Forge World still be used on Warhammer.com? Which, by the way, if you go to forgeworld.co.uk, it forwards to this website now. So Forge World doesn't exist. They say you will be able to identify Forge World products through the tags expert kit and 15 plus resin. As in, you got to be 15 years and older to, I don't know, I guess use this product.
You have to be a grown up or a legendary connoisseur of the finer things in life before you tackle these projects.
Pretty interesting. Pretty interesting stuff there. So Forge World doesn't exist in.
So preposterous. I'm like on the page for all the expert kits. It's like $43 for half a Space Marine. I'm not being hyperbolic. It's literally like a tank commander, dude. So you're paying $43 for half a Space Marine.
Oh,
like,
the carry-on. If
you buy this, like you're missing some fucking IQ points, man. Like, don't buy this.
I'm thinking about your guys' wallet. That's all. We're already into it deep for expensive hobbies. Don't fall victim to the expert kick tagline.
That shit is wild. So, $50 for half a Space Marine.
Yeah, there's a lot going on over there. Maybe we should. Let's talk about this real quick. So before the new website rolled out, they sent a message to stores. Their trade partners, right? And they said the following. They said, please note that not all products on GW's web store are eligible for a trade discount. If a product on our web store is traded with one of the symbols below, you will only be able to order it with full retail price. So basically, if they order anything with these symbols, and I'll explain that in a second, they actually lose money because between Well, first of all, your opportunity cost, because they're going to lock down your credit card for who knows, a week, 3 weeks, who knows? Credit card fees, the labor to check this stuff in and hand it to the person. So I don't even know. Put a percentage on that. Who?
Oh no, you can't be a retail store and buy something full retail. That's ridiculous. That's
no, it's absolutely asinine. So, made to order items, print on demand items, collector edition. So like all those snazzy books and everything with the super dope foil pages and the, little bookmarks. Like you want the collector Space Marine edition. You're only going to get that from GW.
Yeah.
By the way, they don't put any bubbles in the boxes. They're going to put your book in a box, and the box is going to be like 4 inches tall. And they're going to be like, Jesus, take the wheel and chuck it through and yeet it through the mail. Every collector's edition book I've seen come in the mail has been destroyed.
Yeah, no, this just makes sense. That's the direction they're moving to. Like, the more baller, boutique, the more, yeah.
So stores can buy less things to make margin, and GW is actively trying to get customers to purchase things through their Warhammer.com site and have them shipped to their stores locally.
Yep. This is why your suggestion to shutting down the clubhouse by January is, this is not, if you're like, especially if you're like a tabletop clubhouse, got like 13 guys that pay dues, guys are scraping by, paying the rent, whatever you're doing, like, nah, just stop. This is not gonna. Fuck no.
I'm almost speechless.
That's annoying. That's annoying that you can't get the collector's books and stuff. That's like a lot of people I know. That's like all they want, and then they want to go support their game store, and that's like the thing they want.
But here's the thing too. Remember this: like if you order something from Warhammer.com now, right? It doesn't come for release. They might not even ship it by release date, unless you are picking that shit up from a Warhammer store.
That's part of the FOMO. Is that
you do not get it on release day.
If you say come to my house, it's slower than if you go to the store, which is thus training us.
And they want people in the store for impulse buys.
It's training us to associate online purchase with the pickup at the store anyway. So it's making us go there over and over again. It's insidiously genius.
I mean, if you like playing at small stores with
and it's unnecessary
half-size tables,
it's straight up unnecessary business practice because they're doing fine. They're fine without doing that. It's just the drive is so ridiculous. Anyway, so you said there's an FAQ.
There is an FAQ.
So where is that on the new Warhammer.com?
It's not there.
So how do you get this new FAQ?
Basically, you have to find it on the internet.
No.
Twitter.
It's a tournament specific FAQ for the GW Worlds tournament.
But just like all tournament specific rulings that we have seen, i.e. Towering at Tacoma, guess what was incorporated?
So what is this? Is this a collection of rulings that have already been done? What is this?
No, it's in the player pack for GW Worlds. So it only affects people going to that event.
But major tournaments have already said that they're incorporating this.
But as a player, it doesn't mean dick unless you go to the tournament. Because
it's showing us what the future book that we're going to buy is.
Yeah. Like you can make inference from it, but it's not like you have to go out and seek this thing because it's not posted online anywhere. Like you literally had to get emailed the player pack.
Oh,
or you can find it in Spiky Bits.
So so how was it distributed? How was this information distributed?
It was emailed to players going to Worlds.
Yes, okay, right. So it not being on the website
means it's not like
it's because they were emailing
for public consumption. It's not
here's the thing.
Yeah, Rob, you should take it off your website. They don't want you to share that around.
Not really that. It's just like
they know my number.
It's not like an official update to the rules, so it's only binding to like that tournament.
It is, but here's the thing. There's nothing bad in this FAQ.
Oh, yeah.
If anything, it's great clarification.
It's just like it's not a big deal.
So it was distributed privately to people who qualify for Worlds. It is a good. We pretty much know what they're going to do in the next rollout, the new balances. So what's
it's not really balances. This is like when I say FAQ, I'm not talking about like what we refer to as like what's new in the FAQ. It's like literally question answers to very specific instances of things.
This is literally FAQ then.
Yeah, like a balanced data slate could be totally different from this.
Well, technically, the first balanced data slate did have the Eldari dice change, which was an FAQ.
Yes.
So they can incorporate it into a balanced data slate.
So this is more of an FAQ. So give me some of the cliff notes. With the top, what's the?
Well, okay. So there's some clarifications to Overwatch. If you have pistols or big guns never tire, you can, let's see, you only have to take one battle shock test at most. Might be kind of important.
There was some weird interactions with that where you could have to take like 3 in a row.
Because of Overwatch?
No. It's just in general. Like there's lots of things that force you to take a battle shock test outside of your command phase.
On hit, like or something.
Right. Yeah. And it'd be like, oh, you passed that one, take 3 more, dude. Like, okay, now you failed. Get fucked. Like,
yeah, a little obnoxious. Okay.
That counts as having made a move. That for abilities that trigger at the start of or end of a move. So like reserves. Like disembarking after deep striking and things.
Okay, so they just clarified that.
Right. Also, when a transport arrives from reserves in a reinforcement step, the controller player's movement phase aren't embarked units eligible to disembark. So no. Which is kind of interesting, kind of spicy, because I think
usually they'll let you.
Yeah. Now I think drop pods say you do have to get out.
That's the only thing. That's their thing.
They're a whole different animal altogether. This one was good. Some abilities remove a unit from the battlefield after the first battle round has started and placing in strategic reserves. That ability states it will arrive back on the battlefield in the reinforcement step of your next movement phase, or that unit has deep strike ability. Can such an ability allow a unit to arrive on the battlefield during the first battle round? The answer is yes. So things like Calidus can leave the table and go in a strategic reserve and then come back during your turn. So technically, if you don't go first, you could boop your Calidus around. Same thing with, was it Mythical Defender for Knights?
So if you're put in a situation where your next movement phase is literally your first turn, you can do that.
Yep. So you can have your big dominance class knight teleport across the table and be in front of your enemy's line.
Hell yeah.
On the first turn.
Cool.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah.
I like that it's only for if you go second. I think that's fair.
Yeah, you have to keep an eye on who's actually going first.
There's a qualifier and it's conditional. Like but it's also cool that GW will say yes on that because they trend toward no's on questions like that. So I'm with that.
I remember seeing one that people are going to butt mad about, which is, of course, related to Eldar.
Oh, the Strands of Faith, getting a reroll. So some abilities, Strands of Fate, Acts of Faith, occur before making a dice roll. Can such an ability be used as part of a reroll? So technically, you can command point it and then reroll it.
Yeah.
Those are 2 different sequences.
Or like, okay, so there's a lot of stuff where it's like you have either a hit roll or a wound roll that you're allowed to reroll. And so it's like you can roll the dice, and if you need to reroll, you can be like, oh, Strands of Fate.
Or the Miracle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So wait, we're saying like you could reroll a reroll? What are we saying?
Kind of.
Yeah, that's basically what it says.
It's like you can substitute a die if you're going to have to do a reroll.
Okay, so they're just letting you see it first. Is that like so you don't have to like gamble on it. You can like do the most desirable variant of this. Okay. It was once like that before, but then they changed it. It was like okay.
This one was good. I guess a lot of people are trying to game the one-shot weapon. If a model equipped with a one-shot weapon shoots from that weapon and then later disembarks or embarks with a transport in the firing deck, can that one-shot weapon be selected for use with the firing deck?
No.
No.
Seems like a really dumb question.
That was a dumb one because rules is written that you could, and everyone was like, and we're like, come on, guys.
Everybody knows that's not true. This one was the Melta thing. That was interesting.
Right.
What happened?
There was some weird interactions where things could reduce damage, and the way that it was being played was that the Melta thing was not a modifier, and so you would be like, okay, well, I'm in Melta range. I can like change a failed save to damage 0, and you'd be like, I blank that Melta, you know. And I guess the way they ruled it is that the +2 just happens after. So like if you change it to 0, it becomes 2.
So like you can zero out the D6 element, but not the +2.
Yes.
Fair.
The modifier with Trajan and Mortier, some of the Grey Knights, that was a little bit of a kick in the pants. So basically what they're saying now is some units have abilities that allow certain models / units to ignore modifiers to their characteristics. Do such abilities allow them to ignore modifiers to the characteristics of weapons equipped by these models or units as well? And the answer is no. So if it's, I guess it would matter more for like what Trajan would work against some of this new Nurgle stuff, but not against weapons.
So anything that modifies the AP would still modify the AP because that's coming from your weapon, not from your personal characteristics.
Yes.
Anything will model your number of attacks would modify because that's your weapon, not your personal characteristics. Anything that would modify, yes, okay.
I don't know.
Because we're associating that now with the weapon, not the person.
Right, not the unit ability, which, as you guys have mentioned, a lot of units have specific abilities to them, not just their weapons and such. So
literally 100% of them do.
I don't. Yeah,
you said
I don't know the specific.
I was like, I think all of them do.
I don't know the instance of the abuse here for this one, but maybe somebody could clue me in on that. I'm not sure. You can only basically get 1 CP from abilities now, like Lord Solar, Path of Command, Hive Commander, etc.
That's always in the FAQ. After
they
always play around with undoing that, and then they're always like, "Okay, we were right the last 3 times we rolled this."
Yeah, so
that's always the situation.
But I think they said that knights, if you do kill the enemy warlord, you do get the 3 CP for their oath.
Well, because they're rewarding you more than once, so you either have to remove that reward or allow it to be an exception.
Right. I don't know, but they clarified that. And then the last one was clarifying hazardous tests. And basically, the damage is 3 mortal wounds. If something has more than 3 mortal wounds, and they don't die, then they keep stacking on that particular unit. Which, I guess that affects vehicles more.
Like a bunch of plasma guns, or like a squad of like dudes with plasma guns. It would just roll into the unit.
No, okay. So the unit's controlling player selects one model in the unit equipped with a hazardous weapon. That model will suffer the relevant effects of the failed test, either being destroyed or suffering 3 mortal wounds until it is destroyed. At which point that player selects another model equipped with a hazardous weapon, repeating until there are no further failed tests to assign.
Okay, so like if you have a squad of guys all with plasma, you can't just this guy's. So you can't absorb, but only guys with the hazardous weapon can take these.
Yes, but I think is what it's saying, that you're either destroyed or you suffer 3 mortal wounds. So you would just say this 1 wound dude's destroyed, not suffer 3 mortals because they splash. But if you have like a tank or something, you're not like, hey, I'm not destroying my tank, I'm just going to take 3 mortals.
Oh, they're giving you an
tank.
Option to pick?
That's what it seems like.
Read it again.
That model will suffer the relevant effects of the failed test, either being destroyed or suffering 3 mortal wounds until it is destroyed. At which point, that player selects another model equipped with a hazardous weapon, repeating its own.
Either being destroyed, meaning it'd be like a 1-wound model. I don't see it as a question. I don't see it as an option.
Okay.
Like you're,
so then I guess
you're destroyed if like you don't have any, if you're a 1-wound model. Like it's not even a question.
I mean, it seems to work the way I think it worked.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some abuse here that I'm not getting.
Yeah, somebody have to weigh in on this who's smarter at running these units. Like I don't.
I mean, every time I see people take hazardous,
obviously there's a specific thing that's occurred with this, that this is why it's been asked and answered. So hopefully somebody can email me, let me know what I'm missing out on here.
Yeah, I agree. So that was, I mean, these seem okay, except for the couple of 2 question marks there. Not a big deal.
Yep, that's pretty cool. All right, well, why don't we take a commercial break, hit up our guest, and then get out of here. BaronofDice.com, the official dice sponsor of the Long War podcast. Use promo code LongWar5 for 5% off. If you're looking for a superior dice manufacturer, then look no further than Baron of Dice. Custom artwork, faction representation, and crisp razor edge squared dice. Remember to use promo code LongWar5. Again, that's BaronofDice.com, the official dice sponsor of this podcast.
For the best game aids and peripheral tools for wargaming, check out our friend J15Games.com. From wound counters and dials to faction rule trackers, these are the coolest tools out there. Designed to be functional and intuitive, these tools help you stay organized and speed up your game. Their flagship product, the Nesting, Movement, and Combat tool, is absolutely amazing. A magnetized measuring widget that splits into 3 different size tools for every situation. And you can get it in 8 different colors. J15 also offers custom ordered dice trays made from hardwood and leather. Check them out at j15games.com. That's j15games.com.
And we're back with our promised legendary guest tonight. We got Thomas Bird out of Atlanta.
Oh, that's me?
That's the guy. So this has been a interview that's been on the books for a little while, so I'm gonna hand it over to Wyatt. Tell us why we have this handsome gentleman on this podcast tonight.
Oh yeah, Thomas has some big news. So Thomas, you are what's your title with this organization?
That's a good question. I'm the CEO of Pro Tabletop. So we have a YouTube channel called Tabletop Live, but Pro Tabletop is our company. And then we've created this new entity, the National Tabletop League, the NTL. Right. So that's kind of what we're here talking about today. So I don't know what my official title on that company is.
Spokesman, would that be appropriate?
Yeah, sure. Cool. That works.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really neat idea. And you and I have talked about this previously, and the NTL is a initiative towards.
I have a quick question. Didn't he quite literally say he was the CEO?
Well, of Pro Table
and the spokesman, and he's a client.
I mean, that's Big Dick Bandit. That's
the boss.
That's the boss is his title. Just okay. Sorry,
boss. Got it.
I'm the boss. That's right.
Yeah. So, briefly, like, what is the NTL?
So, I mean, the NTL. So what it is a national tabletop league. That's what it stands for. And it's an initiative to just really enable us to create a way to spread 8-man team play across North America. So really it kind of started as we're at ATC. We're talking to Richard Siegler. We get these questions a lot just from our experience doing like the Atlanta Open and some of our other stuff. Hey, when you guys going to run another event? We were excited about the last event. It's been a while. We really want another event. We always kind of like look at that and see, but we got this conversation with Siegler. He's like, hey man, I really enjoyed your event. It was one of my favorite events. When are you guys going to run another one? Of course, here we are at ATC playing those guys. WTC's right around the corner. All we're talking about, all we've been prepping for has been teams. We love team stuff. And so we're like, well, if we're going to think about this team thing, or if we're going to think about events, it's got to be a team thing, right? So then we started like just asking around, hey, are you anyone interested in playing in a big team event? We'll do it up Pro Tabletop style. We'll put all the broadcasts. We'll do the big thing. and a lot of people were interested, right? And then as soon as we said we're involved, they were like on it. And then as soon as we kind of started digging into it, we're like, well, there's a lot of people interested. What if we, instead of just putting on a singular event, what if we kind of approach this from kind of a league perspective? So you kind of think the NFL and turn that into Warhammer and just go enable these other events that want to have team events or interested in team events. What if we say, hey, we'll standardize it. We'll help make this thing something that's going to be consistent across the country, and then really kind of tie into that WTC style. We want to bring that to the United States and let people here play that format. And that's kind of how it evolved. And so we started reaching out to folks, talking to different folks, and the response has been overwhelming. So it kind of took on a life of its own, and here we are today.
Yeah, it seems like this is well, I'm personally, I think this is a really cool idea. I love to see it. So you mentioned a few things in your statement. So for our listeners who don't know, what is the WTC? Like when you say team events, people will be like, well, it's Warhammer. I play with my buddy. How do we play in a team event? Like give us a rundown of like the WTC format. Like what is a team event?
Yeah. So to jump all the way to WTC, that stands for the World Team Championships. So that's a big tournament once a year. It's held in Europe. It moves from kind of country to country. And it kind of the premise is, each country is allowed one entry into the tournament. So you have all the European countries. You have you have the United States. There's one entry from Team USA that goes out there. And they have this event where they compete, for the champion of the world, so to speak, in Warhammer. And it's a team event. So if you think about that as a big thing, right, you're traveling to Europe playing and meeting all these different people from different countries. It's like this cultural exchange, but you're playing Warhammer and you're competing at this highest kind of stage. But what is team events? So if you've never played in a Warhammer team event, there's lots of different formats, 2-mans, 3-mans, 4-mans, 5-mans. Predominantly here in the United States, you don't see 8-mans. I think ATC is like the largest event that's been held for 13 plus years, I think. In Tennessee in July usually is when they have it. That's been the longest running team event. And that's a 5-man team event. And so what we've kind of said for WTC, it's 8-man. So just really how many players are on a single team. The format really is kind of like if we're talking about 8s, we say, hey, I have 8 people on my team. You have 8 people on your team. We set out 8 tables. We like do this pairing process where we kind of like match up your armies against my armies, and then we kind of like spread them all out. Everyone plays an individual game. Now we're playing 8 different games. And as a team collectively, each person wins or loses. We take all those combined scores, and that's our team score. And then we compete against each other on a team basis. And so every faction you can only have one of each individual type of army. So it starts becoming varied. You can't take 2 Eldars. You can't take 2 Space Marines. So you can only have one of each. So there's a lot of variety in the armies. And then the strategy, because you start talking about, well, Warhammer is a very kind of rock, paper, scissors type game. When you play in singles, you're kind of limited to your one choice. Now, when you have a whole team of players, you have this kind of strategy of how do I pair that rock, paper, scissors into kind of a way where I can get the best matchups for my individual players. So yeah, it's a different way to play Warhammer. Yeah.
Kind of a mini game, like it's the best part of Warhammer in my opinion, because it's playing Warhammer with the boys, right? You get to scheme with the boys, you get that team spirit, the camaraderie. And one thing to note is with the team stuff, it's very different than a one-on-one. I just enter a tournament and like play all my one-on-one games and try to get the best placing possible. The types of armies that you'll see there are much more strategic. Like they have a purpose. And as a team, you have a better chance of, how do I explain? Like you have a better chance of every player having a good experience rather than like if you show up to a tournament, turns out your list was bunk and you just 0-6 like the whole time. Like nobody wants to feel that way. Yeah. Whereas with a team event, one round, I might ask Kenny like, hey bro, you got to fall on the sword for this pairings. Cause like we need you to like take that matchup away from the rest of our guys, which you're probably going to lose, but you can play that game, get some points for the team. And that means our other matchups have a much better chance of winning. And then the next round, the situation could be, well, Kenny, like, here's a grand slam for you, dude. Like, just crush that fool. You know, that gets you like your huge win. And so you alternate through that in the pairing process, and it creates that, like, you know, offense, defense, you know, football team, baseball team, whatever sport you're into, kind of feeling where you all accomplish something rather than one person accomplishing something.
That's right. You're contributing to the whole. You're in it together. If you have a good team, they're cheering you on, even when you maybe have a tough matchup. And then sometimes, like, your whole goal is to lose, but maybe not. It's just to get a few points, right? And so if you get 2 or 3 points, if you're playing in a differential type scoring, that may be a win. So you come out of there the hero because you got the 3 points you needed to kind of push the team over the top and win the whole round. So it's definitely much more involved. I think it's an enjoyable way to play Warhammer. And kind of like you say, if you play singles, maybe you lose that first round in a big event. It's kind of hard to, like, well, now I'm out of the running for the whole tournament. How do I keep the morale up to kind of keep playing? And if you
know, we've been spreading the word of team events on this podcast for years, right? So I'm pretty sure at this point our audience knows how we feel about team events. And I think also you mentioned something earlier, like, you know, like 13 years just about at ATCs, man. So, like, that's been a part of the culture now for over a decade. So I think that the timing is right here, where we've, as a community, have had years to prepare for the 8-man variant, which every person you add to the variant makes it that much more difficult logistically to deploy a team, to field a team. Right? As we all know, we used to say back in the old days when it was 4-man teams and Adepticon was the only team in town. If you can get to Adepticon with these same 4 guys you set out to go to Adepticon with earlier this year, you're in an elite. Yeah, you get a prize. You should win a trophy.
That's elite status, right? It's definitely hard to get to pin some people down for that long.
It is. That's just 4. That's 4. We go to the 5-man singles, which was relatively new 13 years ago when it started. Exactly the same thing. You've got a core 3 guys, and it's like scouting the local scene out. Who's our 4th and 5th? Who's our, you know what I mean? And now that it's become so indelible in our community, I think that people have their 5-man squads mostly figured out with like an alternate or 2. And so it's, the timing to me sounds perfect. So, like, the real question is, like, when can we start to expect to start seeing these 8-man teams show up, and how do we sign up, and how do we get playing?
Oh, wow. So, I mean, it's funny. I think in one of our articles we wrote, like, the first event is, you know, the season starts in March of 2024. So the first event is going to be hosted by ATC. So they're going to have their main ATC event as usual in July, but they're also hosting the very first. They're calling it 8TC in March. So I think in our like our document that we wrote up, it was like the first team event. And I got contacted by a group that they're like, we have a team event like next week, 8-man, we're the first. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm sorry. So there's plenty of people who have been, I guess, talking about or interested.
This is our first.
Yes, exactly. So I had to go like fix the copy a little bit, but super excited. I think a lot of folks are very interested in teams. Obviously, as we kind of do more and more coverage, the internet covers more and more things. You kind of get exposure to some of these other things. Like I said, WTC is really kind of a once a year thing in Europe. And if you're not like on the chosen Team USA, like you may not even know about, you know, WTC.
It's always been in the background, pretty much always. It's always been happening. And it's just, you know, one of those things that you either know about or you don't know about, but its influence has trickled down into our culture here in North America. Hence,
it has. Yeah. And, you know, Jaime Paris, he's on our team, on the Pro Tabletop team, and he made it to Team USA. So, of course, he coming back and telling us all the stories, and we know a lot of those guys. So we're like, man, you know, we want to have that fun too. Like, how can we have some of that fun, and how can we share that with everyone else? Right. So we're passionate about it.
And North America is rife with drama and great, like, just you know, like, matchups of the ages. They got so many characters, so much history that it's so awesome to not, it doesn't have to be once a year grudge matching. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, these game clubs have their roots going back over a decade, man. So I think there's a lot more action, like, over here.
Yeah.
Like, this could be and also when you think of, like, you know, when they fly abroad and they play, you have to remember, like, our country's like, what, 2,000 miles across, some shit like that, like, not even the diagonal way. There is so many regions in this country with a crew of 8 guys that could dick stomp almost any other 8 guys.
It's always hard to kind of look at them where like the countries are so small and you're like, we can only have one from the United States and we're so big. You're like,
that's why we have to take matters into our own hands. And
we are.
Yeah. And you have to blow it up.
Exactly.
You have to expand the model. So it's not yearly. It's going to be more frequent than that.
Right.
You know, like you might dilute the talent pool a little bit because there's not going to be a parameters, right? It's not like a cost of entry, meaning you have to prove to other people how good you are at the game. It's still open to the public, right? Like you can come and sign up and play.
Yeah.
So this is the open. This is the open. This is like the open variant.
This is it. And I think also like from a WTC standpoint, if you think that far ahead, like the folks that play on Team USA, they're really kind of trying to make it more transparent as far as the process to be a part of Team USA. If you want to join Team USA, you want to audition, try out for it. And this gives them an opportunity to kind of see other players practice more in that kind of 8-man WTC style, that format,
it's
so that when
like
they
a
do
recruitment league.
It's like that. It's like the minor leagues.
They're going to recruit, they're going to practice, they're going to get ready so that when they do go back over there, now they're like fully armed with a lot of games.
I love that because like we have always wanted to use terminology kind of like that here in the podcast. Like me and Wyatt would talk all the time where it's like, we need like minors and majors, and people don't like that because it makes one seem lesser than the other. Right. And so everything's a GT, everything's a grand tournament. And it's like, that's not true. Like if it's open to the public, that is the minors. If it is not open to the public and it requires an audition or an application process and credentials, that's pro status.
Yeah.
And so
you use that word pro and you get amateur and you get all sorts of different like
people
things that you
just don't like to be associated with one or the other. And I get that, but I love open format because sometimes that's where you find the craziest shit, man. You distill it down and then you recruit off of that. This is exciting. Sorry, Rob.
So I think I think something exciting about this that you guys can probably get behind is the fact that it's the ratings or the rankings are ELO.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have an ELO system.
I assumed as much. I didn't even bother asking.
How is the ELO system gonna work for the NTL?
So when everyone signs up, if you haven't created a team yet, or if it's your first event playing in a team, you got to register with us. And so we'll establish an ELO. Everyone starts out at the same ELO score. And if you don't know what ELO is, it's not something that we created. It's something that's used in chess and a lot of other game systems. And so
it doesn't stand for anything. It's a guy's name.
It's a guy's name. Exactly right. And it's really kind of this mathematical formula that says, hey, if you have this numerical rating and if our numbers are close to the same, like we should be theoretically like equally skilled and should have an equal chance to beat each other. But if my ranking is way higher than yours, then more often than not, I should beat you and vice versa. Right. And so when we play against each other, our scores go up and down kind of based on that. Like if a low score beats a high score, that's an underdog match.
The further away we are in score, the more wild the swing is. And
that's right.
The closer together in score we are, the less wild the swing is.
Yeah, and typically, historically, right, in Warhammer, the way we've kind of done rankings and stuff and those sorts of things, it's really kind of like how I placed at the tournament, how many players were at that tournament. Bigger events give you bigger score. Theoretically, you play more games. It kind of you play harder opponents. Maybe that like makes you have a higher score.
Yeah, like we have it's like strength of schedule. It'd be like to a casual strength of schedule. We all know what that is. It'd be like you just finished playing a tournament and now you have a strength of schedule number. And then that number is now utilized immediately right after in another tournament in some capacity that is meaningful.
Exactly.
Other than it already happened and it's in the past and it doesn't mean shit.
Yeah. There's no like I finished second at this big GT last week or last month. It's I played 6 games or 5 games and my score went up or down 5 or 6 times based on who I played against. Right. So if I played all the hard ringers and I beat a couple of them, my score is going to jump up wildly. If I played everyone that had lower rankings than me, my score is going to just really edge along. So there's not this situation where we have the league and a score where someone just kind of runs away with the score, because there's always an opportunity for folks to catch up and met those scores.
Me and Wyatt talked a lot about this and how to game it. So how does someone game this score?
You're going to tell me how to undermine my own system? I think, the way we've kind of set the league up, because we want everyone to kind of have an opportunity to play. There's no restriction on who's on your team, right? So when you go register a team, it's just one person registers.
So
the
your
team,
team's ELO scores is a combined total of all the players' ELO scores?
It's really just tracked at the team level. So if you create the Long War team, then you guys could play next month. It could be a whole different crew of people playing. It's not logged or tracked by any particular player that's on that team at any given time. It's just logged to that.
So this ELO score is used only at these official events, which you are planning on subcontracting the ability for other people to run these events, or is it just going to be held entirely through your organization?
Yeah. So from our perspective, right, I'm running the league. I'm kind of making sure that we're running on a standard rules, the standard terrain, the standard kind of.
So he's like the chairman. This guy's like the
commissioner.
The commissioner.
Yeah,
I'm the NFL. You guys are the team clubs that are running your own teams.
I'm fucking with
so
it.
all the event organizers that are signed up, we have 17 events that are signed up to run individual 8-man team events across the country.
Fuck yeah.
They're already lined up for the first season. So, they're already there and they run their events and we just kind of tally those scores as they go.
Nice.
Right?
And so that's the season. Is this many events is the season.
Is the season. That's correct. And then it all builds up to a final. So it's like there's a championship at the end. It's not just like I scored a bunch of points and I'm the top winner of the points I win. It's you if you win an event.
What's entry to the championship? Is based on your win record or like the Super Bowl?
So the way it works is there's 18 qualifiers. There's 20 total spots in the championships. So if you win an event, you're automatically qualified to go to the finals. Let's use Art of War. I always. But
if they won like 5 events, then you need to figure out how to fill out the roster.
If they win the event and then they win again the next one, it just takes the next person in line. So like whoever's second place would get it, right? So there's every event is going to give a qualifier. So there's no you see Art of War on the roster. Yeah. So then you go down that line, all the events get a qualifier, and then at the end you have 2 spots left over because we have 20. There's 18 events. Or 18 qualifiers, then you have 2 spots from the top rankings. So whoever hasn't made it, that's in a
perfect world, it's 18 different teams won it, and then 2 second place finishes.
Yeah, or you don't even have to be finishing second, right? Because it's about the ELO score. So you could score lots of ELO by just happen to
winning games. Yeah,
winning against the good teams, right? Yeah. The high ELO scores. Yeah,
I love it. This means I can put a lot of thought into this, Commissioner.
That's right. We have to I've seen some cool Super Bowl rings. We literally went to the company that makes the Super Bowl rings, and we got the non-diamond versions, right? So they have the diamond ones or the not diamond ones, but we have some cool customized
some lab-grown diamonds.
We got Army Painter. I got a shout out to our sponsors. They're really making it happen. They're supporting us from the league, so we got a big sponsorship with them. Shout out to those guys because they're really like helping us. Purchase the rings, purchase some of the back end stuff. We're getting the custom mats. If you've seen some of our mats that we have for the pairing process, there's a whole bunch of stuff. We're doing some software on the back end to kind of track and build out the league standings. Okay. So it's
well, that said, like where can people go to find all this information and like register for events?
So on our website, nationaltabletopleague.com. That's a mouthful, but go to the website. It's all there. All the information about the events are listed there that are part of the process. You'll see the schedule. Tickets are on sale for the first 2 events. So 8TC, that's the first event in March, and then Battle for, so that's in Tennessee, and then Battle for Salvation is in April. That's up in New York. So they usually have run a 5-man team event for the last, I forget, 4 or 5 years. So they switched whole over to 8-man. So they're super excited to be part of the league.
Awesome.
And if you like YouTubes, you like videos, you can certainly check out our channel, Tabletop Life. We have some videos there, and we just did a big announcement, kind of going over all the things about the league. So if you just want to hear us talk on the channel, we can also tell you all about it there.
So give me some exciting names of people in your staff, like who are like, because now that we're thinking Super Bowl shit, and now I'm like thinking like NFL. I'm like, who are like? There's some OG players here, right? Like you're Commissioner Bird.
You talking about who's on my team?
Yeah, who's in your squad? Like who's in the like in the big box office at the top of the stadium, like watching everything. Like is Richard Siegler up there, like doing stuff? Is he like?
I mean, so from a team perspective, like he's on Art of War, right? So like he's on the Art of War's crew, right?
He's my favorite guy. That's why I say him.
Oh yeah, he's the one who, like he. If anyone could take credit for making this happen, it all started with him requesting another event. So it's all Siegler's fault. So
Professor Siegler, man, I love that guy. The smartest man in Florida.
He won the Atlanta Open, so he's the only one who has one of these Super Bowl type rings, at least for Warhammer.
Obviously, right? He has that.
Of course. So we have to make sure we hand out more of those because they're so cool. And he just has his in a box in a drawer somewhere. We're like, man, you got to be wearing that thing.
So a lot of
who's on our squad?
Yeah. Who's on your squad? Yeah.
I mean, so we have Jaime Paris. He's a big player in the scene. He's kind of like done real life stuff. He graduated from college and went off to grad school. So he's finished grad school. So he's just starting to kind of getting started in life. But he's obviously he was played on Team USA. He's on our team. Damian Owen, guys know Damian. Brad Weir's obviously one of our guys. Him and I started this whole thing up, so he's big and parcel to our team. We're based in Atlanta, so a lot of our team is all kind of the local Southeast guys. So Stephen Mitchell, I think we have Colin Watts, Joe McMillan. I don't know if you guys know some of these guys, but they're a big crew here. Yeah,
that's cool. Want them to have an opportunity to have their names be called out first. This sounds like it has the makings of being like the spectator variant. Like the team is where it's at, where the action is anyway, right?
Yeah,
that's where the coverage is. It's a lot more interesting to cover an 8-man team and see what's going on, because sometimes watching a game can get a little boring because maybe that game's going a certain way early, or maybe the nature of the matchup is cagey or defensive or null deploy, whatever. And so then we can cut to camera 2 and we're watching this fucking orc v orc beatdown. Like, so I love that this has the makings of being viewable, interesting, intriguing, and that there's some names associated with it, because we also want to know the players, we want to know what they're up to. All that shit is interesting to the public, including me. That's why I asked that question.
Obviously, from our side, we want to do the broadcast. We want to play. So, we're running the event, but we also want to keep it separate so we can actually compete in some of these events. And, we have a whole host of people outside of just our 8 that want to go play. So we'll probably have multiple teams that we're sending to a lot of these events. But we also want to make sure from a broadcast perspective, we bring this thing that we're building and make it viewable, make it exciting. How can we leverage our broadcast, skills and now take that to all these events so we can now show people how much fun it is to play teams and get more people involved, right? So that's part of the big push to just not even have just one event or a couple of events, have events all over the country, so that if you're new to teams, maybe you haven't, want to try to travel to a big event, maybe there'll be one closer to your area and you'll be able to go and check it out, right? It doesn't have to be this big event to compete and have fun and play, like you said, hang out with your boys, like just enjoy Warhammer, right? Because I think teams is a different way to play 40K than singles. And if you haven't really experienced that, you're kind of missing out on some of the best times, right? Because you really, at the end of the day, when you go to these tournaments for a long time, it's like a family reunion. You're seeing all your friends, you're hanging out, and it's just like a vacation just to see your friends. So playing Warhammer is just kind of icing on the cake. And if you can do that as the whole premise, you're hanging out with your boys before and after, and you're building this whole thing, camaraderie, competing. It's just a good time.
So we get this question a lot when we run our doubles event twice a year. Is this system going to have a way in place for like mercenary guys, where like, I just want to play, can you put me on a team? Or like, can you take an amalgamation of these guys and like put them into a singular team so they can connect and play, or that kind of thing?
Yeah, the beauty of the team system that we set up is, like if you just want to create a new team on the spot, it's no problem, right? Like you'll get started with the standard set ELO because you're a brand new team. But like the only restriction, kind of the hard challenge is, in the format of 8-man teams, you can't have duplicate armies. So if you just get a bunch of people, you'll have to kind of manage the army so that they all line up. But there's definitely an opportunity for us to kind of help before the event gets started. People are interested, but maybe they don't have all those friends or those groups that they can join, but they are interested in playing. There's always somebody who is the last minute. They lose a guy, they're short a teammate, or they just didn't have enough, but they want to play. So there's ways for us to kind of connect on a per event basis, so we can really help others that are interested in playing. Maybe they don't have a full team get connected, because we really want to make this something that we can, allow others to, meet new friends and play Warhammer, right? And sometimes that's the best way, is just to lump some strangers in, because we all kind of have the shared thing that we are passionate about. And a lot of my friends come from all different walks of life, right? Like they're bankers, they're CEOs, they're mechanics, they're engineers, they're lawyers, they're just all over the place from a job perspective, from an outlook on life perspective, but we all share this common interest and goals about Warhammer and love. So like we get along in that way. So it's interesting amalgamation of interests.
That was amazing. So March, it begins.
It's starting hot. So March is the day, right? So get ready. Mark it on your calendars. Tickets are on sale now. So if you really are ready to go check out ETC's website, and they have tickets for the first March event up already.
Well, hell yeah. Thank you, Thomas, for kicking it with us today. Commissioner Bird.
Well, I'm here for you guys. I'm hoping I see you guys come out to the team. I like you guys kind of come to events and check it out, but like it has been a while since I see y'all roll some dice, so like y'all gotta get out here.
Yeah, I agree. Let's go. Rob, I got a guy who could fly me straight to your house. We could scoop you up. Right by there.
You just have them drop you off, bro.
You heard it here first, guys. They're coming out of retirement. Come play some games.
Oh man, yeah. We're gonna drag Rob kicking and screaming.
Me and Wyatt are coming out of retirement. Rob's been.
I would like to go on record and say that I have played more 10th edition games than both of those two combined.
By multipliers.
By factors of 10.
Well, who's going to be on y'all's team? Are you have some people in mind? You're going to like call up the listeners and like do a lottery? Like who's on the team?
Yeah, we got some guys. We got like, OTPH Cheesy out there.
Oh yeah,
from Ohio.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, dude. We got Big Red. But we can get him. He loves team events. That's like all he wants to do.
We need a guy who's going to win all the games anyway. So
that's true.
We'll need his ass.
Yeah, at least one of those.
Yeah, he's good for that. He's good to show up once a year and just win 6 games in a row.
That's all you need, baby. That's all you need. Yeah. Get your qualifying spot. You're in.
It's the Rain Man.
Yeah. All right. Well, thanks for kicking it with us this evening. As always.
Thanks for having me.
You're fucking amazing. Old school friend of the show.
Appreciate it, guys.
Oh, before you get out of here, Thomas, like seen these new metal posters?
Yeah.
Figure since you're also a man with some taste, some ultramarines,
some ultras.
Uriel Ventress.
Oh, and they got Marnius too.
Oh shoot!
Throwing them fists.
Gonna get some.
Those are the disc plate ones, right?
Yeah.
Guess who's the only chapter that got characters?
I saw that. Like I saw some new. Like I guess they had just updated because I saw a bunch of stuff hitting my feed or whatever. I was like, ooh, I gotta go check that out. And I haven't had a chance with all this NTL stuff.
Yeah, dude.
Big fresh.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for taking the time, guys. I really appreciate it. I know you guys are busy, and this means a lot to us. Obviously, we are very passionate about all the effort we put into this. So we're trying to hit it hard and do it right. Make sure we kind of keep everyone on board and in the community. So we're excited about it.
Awesome. Like I think people are going to jump right on it.
Yeah, the level of interest in the conversations we've had, like it's been really positive. So it's great.
Nice,
it's amazing, bro.
It's good to see you guys too, man. Kenny, I haven't seen you in forever, but Wyatt and Rob, I've been talking to you guys.
Can't wait to see you again.
Yeah, man, it'll be good.
I'm pretty close.
Well, cool.
My private pilot lives right down the street from you. So
awesome.
Private pilot.
Yeah, we got a private jet. If by jet you mean experimental aircraft,
a Cessna,
with a 100 horsepower carbureted prop engine.
You like flap your wings, your arms outside.
Barely 2 people can fit in. We have a pee bottle that is unusable, by the way.
Taking your life in your own hands,
bro. I was like, wait, how do you use the pee bottle? He's like, it's impossible because like you both have a stick between your legs. We're in a 5-point harness in an airplane like this. I'm like, there's literally no way you're gonna pull your fucking dick out with the fucking stick in your legs and get your dick out and pee in this little bottle, this aviation pee bottle, without peeing all over the fucking airplane. He's like, yeah. He's like, P.S. Like my wife has flown with me exactly twice, and he has like over 1,000 hours on this airplane.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
dude, chicks don't even like using porta potties.
Yeah,
and it's mostly because of the smell.
I mean, that's mostly why porta potties are gross. But you can't smell, so you don't know anything about that.
Yeah, I'm like, whatever. I'll just go in there.
For you, it's tactile sensation. You touch things in there, and you're like, yeah, this is gross.
It just looks dirty. I try not to touch it.
It is. It smells like it looks, dude.
That checks out.
Yeah. All right. Well, Thomas, I'll let you get out of here. We're going to film the front end of the show now, and then we'll slice this interview in.
Yep.
Well, thank you, guys. Have a good night.
Yeah,
appreciate it. Great to see you.
Peace out.
Good seeing you, bro.
Later, dude.
Take care, guys.
Good one, guys. Wyatt, you want to take us out of here?
Rob?
I have one job here. So that's it for this one, y'all. Make sure to head on over to thelongwar.net for exclusive content, early access videos, and more. Become a veteran of Long War today.